Hello and welcome to Washington, D.C., America. You know, the Greeks may have cornered the market in ancient philosophy and the diligent Japanese the future of technology, but for the things that really matter, like large men stuffing inflated balls through metal hoops, the world takes its cue from America. All over the globe, people try to look, work, act and play like Americans, making J.R. Ewing and Bart Simpson the Gandhi and Confucius, respectively, of this modern age. The world wants to know, how do Americans turn their leisure time into real pleasure time? For the answer, stay tuned to Americana. The most immediately impressive thing about America is not its size, nor its wealth, nor its exceedingly pleasant weather. No, what's most striking about America is how dumb it is. Incredibly, unbelievably, wonderfully dumb. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sneering in some superior European way at American dumbness. I'm celebrating it. Because they are dumb through choice. They are dumb because they realise that life itself is dumb. And the only way to truly enjoy it, the only way to drift through this all too brief existence with a smile on your face is to succumb, to give up all pretension, to wallow in life's inherent stupidity. And nowhere is this more apparent than in Mr. and Mrs. Average American's relentless search for pleasure. I don't want to make Americans out to be drooling idiots, forever seeking cheap, transitory thrills, but much of the evidence points this way. And although we as tourists enjoy many of the same rather desperate man-made attempts to amuse, there's one fundamental difference. We can always go home. All around the world, people know guns are fun, but only in America do they admit it. To us peaceful Brits, it seems like all Americans either possess a gun or dream of the day when they will. But sadly, for you average Americans, even those who live in Los Angeles, the chance to actually blow someone away comes all too rarely. So, the answer is to head somewhere like The Farm in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and shoot the hell out of some inanimate objects. So when did you have the idea that shooting weapons would provide a good, fun tourist attraction?
Well, because I enjoy it so much, I knew there had to be a percentage of other people out there like myself, because the world's population is growing and there's fewer and fewer places to shoot. I felt that it was a good idea.
Do you think many people come just for the sheer, vicarious pleasure of blowing the crap out of something?
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Some of them, it's a chance to relive their youth. Then we get into the younger people, and it's a chance to see and shoot these things that they saw on television and in the movies, and experience it.
And rather here than in their local supermarket, or?
Oh, sure, yeah. Sure.
Do people bring kids along here? Do you have whole families?
Oh, yes. We're family orientated. And I strongly encourage people to bring their daughters. I want the young girls to be familiar with the weapons, because in this country, when she grows up and she gets married, now it may be the husband's castle, but it's her nest. So if she has a fear or dislike of guns, then she is not going to allow any guns in that household. So she's going to deprive her husband as well as her children of this. So if she is comfortable with weapons, then we have a perpetuating thing.
And then it won't spoil the fun for the rest of the family.
Exactly.
Maybe they could just move to a country where guns aren't quite so prevalent. What do you think?
No, I don't think they're going to leave America.
No. Who in their right mind would, Bob? What can I destroy first in a mindless orgy of destruction?
Let's go with the Uzi. That's a favored weapon.
Yeah.
See, it feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel horribly comfortable, doesn't it?
Do you feel the power there already?
I do. I haven't felt this way since my honeymoon. And what can I shoot the shit out of with this, Bob?
I have a silhouette in this pond over here, and it looks like a guy charging across you in the paddies. Nostalgia. A lot of people like that.
That's one of the sickest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, different strokes.
Different strokes. Okay, well, let's go and kill the sucker.
All right.
All right, let's go and do this. Most British folk shy away from guns as a form of entertainment, which is a pity. If only we could forget that we're essentially sane human beings and become somehow more American, we too could enjoy the huge thrill of wanton, noisy, expensive destruction. Did I get him, Bob?
No, you missed. Shoot down.
Now this is fun.
This gun is favored by personal protection people. This is bodyguards, Secret Service. Anybody that has to protect somebody, it's a close-range weapon. Fires extremely fast, 1,450 rounds per minute.
Although Bob takes a simple, almost childlike pleasure in sharing his potentially lethal toys, fun like this doesn't come cheap. In one afternoon, I shot off hundreds of dollars worth of ammo. At that price, such other dumb, addictive modern pleasures as crack or phone sex look like canny investments. Do you have like a nudist day here?
I've got one left, I think.
Oh, no. I wouldn't leave one in there. What kind of amateur do you think I am? Let's get some big stuff out.
You think us Yanks don't know how to have fun?
The farm is just a few miles from Bill Clinton's boyhood home, and he'll probably be setting up the summer White House just down the road. Who knows, maybe his Secret Service guys will drop by to chew the fat and borrow a cup of ammo. But as any American school kid can tell you, stray bullets and presidents don't mix. This is the Tragedy in U.S. History Museum, situated in America's oldest city, St. Augustine, Florida, where its proprietor, Buddy Huff, has preserved in amber, so to speak, some of America's saddest moments, all in the name of fun. Because for many Americans, a day without tragedy is the greatest tragedy of them all. Despite its all-encompassing name, the museum makes but token nods to, for example, the tragedy of the American Indian, as if we care. Nor does it summon memories of Nixon and Watergate, or even the cancellation of Baywatch. The museum exists really to promote Mr. Huff's one tragic obsession.
But 3 quick shots shattered this day, November 22nd, 1963. At Parkland Memorial Hospital, President Kennedy died. The 4th U.S. president to perish at the hand of an assassin.
We got the news that President Kennedy had been shot, and later on the news, President Kennedy had died. And I says, by being from St. Augustine, a tourist city, I says that would make a museum. Now this car is very interesting. This car belonged to...
Nobody remembers the day John F. Kennedy was inaugurated, but Americans are proud of the fact that they all remember exactly where they were the day he died. Only Buddy, however, had the presence of mind to preserve the moment, to turn the national horror into a permanent vacation stop for fun-loving tragedy buffs. And because JFK memorabilia has always been expensive, overpriced I'd say, Buddy's collection centres instead on the alleged assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Dallas police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald. They found the assassin's weapon, and they were convinced they had the criminal. But then, a bizarre murder thwarted forever the normal process.
It's tempting to think the gods were smiling on Buddy back in '63, for no sooner had he snapped up a couple of dead Kennedy items, then Oswald was bumped off as well. Buddy pounced on every piece of Oswald-abilia he could lay his hands on, and scored them at bargain prices.
Here comes Oswald. He is ashen and unconscious at this time, now being moved in. He's not moving. He's in the ambulance now.
Now, I talked to Mr. Mike Harden that run the ambulance. He said that when he got to the jail and put Lee Harvey Oswald on the stretcher, he was alive, and he put oxygen mask on him. And but when he got to the Dallas jail, He was dead on arrival. So in essence, he died in this ambulance.
So this is the vehicle itself. That bed, was that the genuine bed?
That's a bed, and even the spread has been washed, but that's a spread. This is the oxygen equipment. Everything here is original.
And that was the bedspread as well. And why did you wash it? Did it have blood stains on it?
Well, it was not clean, so it was for the museum, so we didn't want it to be soiled.
You didn't want it to be too.
That's right.
And now the ambulance is coming out. The ambulance with Lee Harvey Oswald, who was shot just a few minutes ago.
These things are so important in our lives, these tragedies that I show. And it makes a life more full to see these tragedies. And every person alive has a sense of morbid curiosity. And that's why with all the pitfalls and all the opposition that I've had over 25 years, why I'm still here is because I had something to show that people really wanted to see.
But quiet reigns at the martyred president's grave, where a solemn procession of mourners forever passes. This nation will never forget.
In a country respected worldwide for its drug-crazed criminals, perhaps it's better to chase one's dumb pleasures where there is, if not utter serenity, at least no immediate threat of violent death. But where is this Shangri-La? Well, there's one American town where people of all ages walk the streets safely, day and night. It's a town with no guns, no pollution, and no lack of traditional family values. It's a charming little place called Tinytown.
For the past 30 years we've been here now, and you see the outcome of it here. Believed to be the greatest animated, handmade village in the world. And there's nobody yet came in here claimed to see anything to equal it anywhere in the world. It's all made out of scraps of stuff. Didn't have money to buy water once, so I made it all out of scraps. Out of tin cans, sawdust, apple boxes, old parts off of lawnmowers, bicycles.
It was in our garage when we were younger. And the garage, we had a two-car garage, and we never could get a car in the garage. It was always full of Tinytown. A lot of people ask me, they tell me, rather, they say, I bet it was really neat when you were growing up to have Tinytown around, but it wasn't because he wouldn't let us play with it. Every time there's something breaks down, he grabs his knee and he says, son, my arthritis is killing me, and you're going to have to go in there and work on it.
It's easy to get caught up with someone else's obsession. While I was at Tinytown, it seemed perfectly natural and not at all dumb that two generations of the Mashinsky family should spend their lives constructing an idealized version of a town that never existed.
We're going to make a moon, and we're going to make a McDonald's restaurant. My dad says they could serve Little Macs.
No, you see, you shouldn't let McDonald's creep in. You're going to spoil the neighborhood.
I see, maybe so.
Keep it traditional.
Keep it traditional,
This could be the only town in America that doesn't have a McDonald's.
That doesn't have a McDonald's,
Tinytown is undeniably twee. There is, however, one spot that appeals to more sophisticated fun lovers. A park where top celebrities of the 1970s strut their funky fangs.
Yeah, the park has always been dear to my heart. Ever since I was a boy, my father always took us to a park. And to make it more interesting, I figured if I carved the figures like TV stars, it'd make it more exciting. Here comes Michael Jackson there with his famous glove on. This is my little granddaughter, Mother. She's always wanted to get in there, so I put her in there. There's Sonny and Cher. They got a fighting and a feuding, but I managed to get them back together. There's Laverne and Shirley, quite a comic artist in their days. There's Fonzie with his black leather coat. Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh played Gone with the Wind a few times on TV. There's Sammy Davis, all diked out with his beads and glasses. And Mr. T with all his jewelry. Here comes Dolly, can't forget Dolly. Here comes Willie Nelson. Look at there, he's on the road again.
There's a little bit of a kid in all of us, and I think that's perhaps the best part. But the little kids that are about 4 or 5 years old that are just barely tall enough to look right in here, I think they actually get lost and they think they're in another world.